Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So it is transfer deadline day and Manchester United are in desperate need for a striker before the current transfer window does shut tonight at 11 o'clock. And yes, definitely Manchester United need a striker. Obviously, we got the good news regarding Bruno Fernandes yesterday. He's officially signed for the club, and he's our first signing of this year, and he's our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So Solskjaer has recruited 4 players to Manchester United in 3 transfer windows. So if we can get a striker, today, we'll be actually, very delighted. And the main explanation why we need a striker is reflecting on the injury to Marcus Rashford. As you all know, Rashford sustained a double fracture in his back earlier on in the season, and now he's going to be out for at least a couple of months in that. And like I said, Rashford has been one of our best players this season, but without him there, where are the goals going to come from? I know now with Bruno Fernandes in, he's going to provide goals in that midfield, but we still need a striker. So there has been quite a few strikers on our current agenda. I think we've got around 3 or 4 strikers on our agenda. Obviously, one of those strikers has been Islam Slimani, who's currently on loan at Monaco. Now, I was reading some reports yesterday, and he did say Man United are working with his agents to get a deal finalised. We've inquired about getting him on loan. Tottenham also are keen on signing him today, because obviously Tottenham are in search for a striker, reflecting on the injury to Harry Kane, because also Harry Kane is going to be out for quite some time. Tottenham have made 2 signings in this January transfer window so far. They've signed Gedson Fernandes, I think, on an 18-month loan with an option to buy at the end of the loan. And they've also got Steven Bergwijn from PSV, and I think he's going to make his debut for Tottenham in their game against Man City on Sunday, which is a 4:30 kickoff. And also they did get Giovanni Lo Celso on a permanent deal. So yeah, they're in for Islam Slimani. I think also Aston Villa have inquired about his availability. Islam Slimani, of course, before he was on loan at Monaco, he had loan spells with Newcastle and Fenerbahce. I think he had an unsuccessful loan spell with Newcastle because he didn't score 1 goal on his loan spell with Newcastle. Leicester, themselves will give their overarching view on it, and they said Manchester United or Tottenham will have to pay around £4 million to get Islam Slimani on the board. So they'll have to pay a £4 million loan fee. Leicester, of course, did purchase him from Sporting Lisbon back in 2016 for around 28 or was it £29 million. At that current time, it was Leicester's record signing. Leicester paid, £29 million. But now, obviously, Leicester's record signing is Youri Tielemans. Islam Slimani is 31 years of age in that. So I think Man United are keen on getting a deal over the line for him. Obviously, Odion Ighalo, he's another striker on our agenda. Now, obviously, he's currently playing in China at the moment. I think he has served a couple of years in China, if I'm right. He's currently playing for Shanghai Greenland Shenhua. Obviously, he's had a spell at Watford, so he has played in the Premier League in the past, and he's 30 years of age. So again, I don't really know much about this player. Also, I want to give you some news regarding Edinson Cavani. Now, reportedly, according to Sky Sports, which is a very reliable source, they are saying that Inter Miami are holding negotiations, regarding, getting Edinson Cavani in on the board. Obviously, quite a few days ago, it was looking very, very likely, that Edinson Cavani was going to be going to Atletico Madrid, because his preference was a move to Atletico Madrid. But now, reportedly, it looks as though now his move to Atletico Madrid is dead in the water. Sky Sports did confirm yesterday that Atletico Madrid have ended their pursuit of the player. The main explanation for this is because Atletico Madrid are not willing to meet what PSG are demanding, because PSG have said they want around 25 million for Edinson Cavani. Atletico Madrid are only determined to pay 15 million, so they're around 10 million short of their valuation. Atletico Madrid have already submitted quite a few bids in. They put an 8.4 million bid in, a 12.5 something like that million bid in, but obviously it wasn't enough. But he's going to be leaving PSG, I should presume, because he did confirm earlier on this month, did Edinson Cavani, that, he had submitted a transfer request, basically, and PSG confirmed that themselves. So he is still on Manchester United's agenda, is Edinson Cavani in that. Edinson Cavani is in his, he served 7 years as a PSG, 7 seasons as a PSG player, was it? Enjoyed a good 6 or 7 years there. So a long-serving player he was. PSG's record goal scorer with 198 goals in 293 games in all competitions, and PSG did purchase him for 55 million from Napoli back in 2013. Obviously, PSG aren't going to recoup the money they did pay for him, obviously, because his contract is due to expire at the end of the season. Plus Chelsea, don't forget, they've inquired about his availability. So maybe Chelsea, are still keen on getting a deal over the line. So he's another striker on our current agenda. He's another striker on our current agenda in that. So hopefully, Manchester United can get a striker in today. But reverting back to what I said about Bruno Fernandes, I'm very, very delighted with the signing. It's more than likely he will be making his debut against Wolves tomorrow. It is a 5:30 kickoff. I do believe Bruno Fernandes will be operating in that number 10. So obviously there's no more Lingard in the number 10. There's no more Pereira in the number 10. Juan Mata, we probably can see him as a backup, to Bruno Fernandes and that. But yeah, we have got him on the board. And, Bruno Fernandes, like I mentioned, said he'll, do everything he can, to get Man United back to being successful, and he'll try his best, to get us winning trophies. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come out and give his overarching view on it, and he said, Bruno Fernandes has got a terrific. Bruno Fernandes is a terrific human being. He'd be a great addition to the squad, and he believes, he can emulate Manchester United forward. And I think he can, to be quite honest with you. Bruno Fernandes is predominantly an attacking midfielder. Bruno Fernandes can provide goals for us. He can create chances. He can provide assists. And I think now at Manchester United, he can replicate what he did in his 2.5 years with Sporting Lisbon, definitely. Confirmed yesterday, he had his medical, obviously. We paid 55 million euros up front with around 25 million euros in add-ons. These add-ons are, the add-ons are based on how many appearances that Bruno Fernandes makes, obviously. Also, they're based on us qualifying for the Champions League, and also the other remaining add-ons are obviously, Bruno Fernandes' long-term achievements at the club, basically, in that. So it's 80 million euros in total, which equates to around 68 million in pounds sterling in that. But, Sporting Lisbon said they wanted this anywhere for the entirety of the January transfer window, and they have remained ruthless over their valuation. But yeah, and Bruno Fernandes got a 5.5-year deal, which is signed. There is an option of a further year, so that takes it to 6. So that's a 6.5-year deal, basically. And I think he's our 4th most expensive signing. So yeah, I'm glad we've got Bruno Fernandes on the board, because we actually are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba and that. So yeah, very, very delighted that he's currently in. But he could be the only signing Man United make, unless we can get a striker in, like I said today. Obviously, we'll look to get more signings in the summer, because I think Manchester United need another 3 to 4 more signings at least if we are to be back to being competitive, and if we are to be up there challenging for major honours. Don't forget, we need to see more departures. Solskjaer did say he expects to see more departures. We'll probably consider getting rid of more players in the summer. I think more players will go in the summer, definitely. I think another 5 or 6 more players at least need to leave Manchester United. Obviously, Young left this year. He went to Inter Milan for 1.5 million. Obviously, after he enjoyed 8.5 years at Manchester United, so Young was a long-serving player. Young is now reuniting with Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, Rojo has gone out on loan to the Estudiantes. He's gone. He's made a return to Argentina, so he's gone. The main explanation why we let Rojo go out on loan, it's a 6-month loan, is because the likes of Bay is now fit. Obviously, he was out with an injury since pre-season. Obviously, Fosu Mensah's now back fit. And, we've got a lot of centre-halves in the team. So we thought we'd just let, Marcus Rojo go. He should have gone last summer because Everton, don't forget, had inquired about getting him. But I still think, the players that need to leave Manchester United, I think, Jones needs to be moved on. Whether Jones leaves this year or not, I do not know. Whether Jones leaves or not this year or not, I do not know. I also believe Matic, he's also a liability. Is he out for this game against Wolves? I'm not too sure because I said in my start 11 prediction yesterday he would start. I don't know. He did obviously, get sent off against Man City. Obviously, it was very controversial that because some people said it was a sending off, some people said it wasn't a sending off. Solskjaer gave his overarching view on it, and he said, it was a joke. So he feels as though that that wasn't a sending off. Matic did commit 2 fouls. Obviously, one on Mahrez and Ilkay Gundogan. And obviously, the one on Ilkay Gundogan got him a second yellow. So Matic had been sent off. But I still don't think he's the right player for Man United. But I thought he had a great game against Man City. I'll credit him for that. And again, we overpaid for Nemanja Matic. But we're known for overpaying for players in recent years anyway. Of course, a lot of money's being spent at the football club. We spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in the last 6 or 7 years. And that's also including, of course, what we have now, obviously, spent under Solskjaer. I think we've spent, over 200 million now under Solskjaer, because we spent nearly 150 million last summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. We spent around, 400 million under Mourinho, or just under 400 million under Mourinho. But like I said, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, take that into account. Over 200 odd million under Van Gaal. We only spent around £67 million under David Moyes. So a lot of money's been invested into the club. And we've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. But yeah, Matic for me needs to be moved on. I think it did say the other day we was in talks over extending his contract at the club. Nemanja Matic, because his current contract is due to expire at the end of the season. But we did pay £40 million to him from Chelsea back in 2017. So yeah, and I think Jesse Lingard definitely now needs to be moved on, especially, reflecting on the signing of Bruno Fernandes. And, Jesse Lingard's had a lot of criticism from a lot of Manchester United fans, but he deserves it, with how inconsistent he's been, especially, this season. Okay, he had a good game against Tranmere, but prior to that, he's been very, very poor. Lingard last season did not score 1 goal or register 1 single assist in the Premier League. And that is how bad Jesse Lingard is for Manchester United. So, it would be beneficial if we could move him on. I think a couple of weeks ago, he was linked with a move to Leicester. But Lingard, I think, up until this point, has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. And he should be putting much more better performances out. Maybe we could try Lingard on the right and see how he performs instead of putting him in the number 10. But for me, he's just not good enough for United. You've got Chong. I think Chong is set to leave on a free transfer at the end of the season. I think he's set to go to Juventus or Inter Milan. Is Chong. I don't think Chong is at that level as yet. So if we could get rid of him, that would be very beneficial. There's a lot of United fans saying that they would get rid of Luke Shaw now because, Luke Shaw's struggling to find that consistency. Obviously, he has sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player. Of course, Luke Shaw he won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances, did Luke Shaw. But, obviously now Brandon Williams has come onto the horizon and we see Brandon Williams as our first choice left back. And I think Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Luke Shaw. But he's still inexperienced, so I think Solskjaer will probably consider bringing a left back in the summer. Obviously, he may want to bring one in. But we have got quite a few players who we could go for in the summer. I'm still very convinced Pogba will leave in the summer, definitely. Solskjaer did confirm that Paul Pogba is desperate to return. He's only played 8 games this season, but he's been out for the vast majority of this season due to injury, as you know, Paul Pogba. But I think he'll definitely leave in the summer. But, I think he'll go. McTominay, he's one player I would be determined to keep, so I won't get rid of McTominay because I thought before McTominay got injured, he was a revelation for Man United. So I would be determined to keep him. I'd be determined to keep Fred because I think Fred has definitely rejuvenated himself. But yeah, these players in the team I would be determined to keep, and there's also, players I would be determined to get rid of. But I know actually, a lot of players have left. since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, to be fair and that. So, obviously, Solskjaer's press conference will be coming up today, building up to the Man United Wolves game tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff. Obviously, we've got to win this game against Wolves, because with Wolves, we've got to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. Because coming into this game against Wolves, we have obviously, we've got back-to-back Premier League defeats. Obviously, we lost to Liverpool 2-0. We lost at home to Burnley, for the first time in around 62 years. Obviously, if Bruno Fernandes had been here by then, he wouldn't have lost to Burnley. He should have actually, been in the stands spectating the Liverpool game and that. So back-to-back Premier League defeats. Hopefully, we don't, lose our third game on the trot in the Premier League and that. But, so it is Wolves. It's going to be a pretty tough game. Obviously, the last time we played Wolves, we beat them 1-0 in the FA Cup third round replay. That was the first time Ole Gunnar Solskjaer beat Wolves as a manager. So in this game, he's looking to beat Wolves for the second time as a manager in that. Because obviously, prior to the FA Cup third round replay, Wolves were unbeaten in their 5 previous games against us. We've registered 34 points in 24 Premier League games so far, and we're sitting 5th in the league with 6 points behind top 4. Obviously, on the other hand, we are only 4 points ahead of 14th. So obviously, we are still in that top 4 race. The only main explanation why we're in that top 4 race is because Chelsea have been so inconsistent. So if Chelsea can, slip up in a couple of games and we can win, then obviously, we are in that current top 4. Chelsea do play Leicester tomorrow, so hopefully, Leicester can get something from them. But we've got to beat Wolves, and top 4 is very important for us this season. It's one of our priorities, is that top 4. And I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4 so we can get Champions League football. Also, I think, it's very imperative that we get some silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. We've only won, the FA Cup and the Europa League, and the Europa League and the League Cup, and that was under Jose Mourinho, and the FA Cup was under Louis van Gaal. So they're the only 3 trophies we've won since the Alex Ferguson era in the last 6 or 7 years or so. So Solskjaer has spoken about how important it is for us to get silverware on the board, but we can still win the FA Cup, because we're into the 5th round. We've got the winners of Northampton or Derby. We enjoyed a good cup run last season, but we didn't win it. But we still enjoyed a good cup run. So hopefully we can win it this season. I'm hopeful that we can win the Europa League, because it's silverware on the board, and plus that's another route to Champions League football and that. So we will see what happens. But I think either way, we are determined to give Solskjaer another season anywhere, even if we don't. Well, I've changed my perception, because I said if we don't get top 4 or we don't get any silverware on the board, then he won't be given another season. But I think either way, we'll be determined to give him another season, because now this is his first full season as Manchester United manager. Solskjaer has been here for 13 months now, and the club in general did confirm that they're determined to back Solskjaer in the next couple of windows, at least, because a lot of people believe he deserves a couple of a couple of more windows from now, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, basically. But, like I said, either way, we'll be determined to give him another season. But he has been under intense pressure for the vast majority of this season due to our inconsistency. Solskjaer, and he's aware of the amount of pressure, that he has been under. I think with him being a club legend and that, in that aspect, our board softens our stance. I think disregarding him being a club legend, he probably would have been sacked by now, to be quite honest with you. But, it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, reverting back to what I said, what he says in his press conference. Wolves are on exactly the same points as Manchester United. They've registered 34 points in 24 games, and they're sitting 7th. So we're just ahead of them on goal difference. But like I mentioned, Wolves are a very, very good organised team, very competitive. Their record against the top 6 sides is also sublime. And like I mentioned, there's a couple of players that I would take out of the Wolves team. I'd take Ruben Neves. I'd also take Raul Jimenez. I'd take Adam Traore. I like Jota. Jota, of course, has just recently come back from injury for Wolves. But I like that attacking trio in Wolves' team when they play together. Raul Jimenez, Jota and Adam Traore. you know, very, very good players. You know, Wolves got a lot of good players in their team, definitely. I think Nuno Santos is a very good manager. Wolves, of course, you know, are in the Europa League. You know, they finished 7th last season, so in that aspect, you know, they got automatic qualification for the Europa League and the knockout stages of the Europa League, and that's very good to their standards. You know, they won't win the Europa League, don't get me wrong, but they've still done very, very well to progress to the knockouts of the competition. They've still done very, very well to progress to the knockouts of the competition. And, you know, they enjoyed a fantastic FA Cup run last season. You know, 21... they progressed to the semi-finals of the FA Cup last season for the first time in 21 years. So Manchester United need to win this game against Wolves, because obviously if we don't win this game, then it's going to be very, very ruining, isn't it? So, and I think now with Bruno Fernandes in anyway, could he save now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club and that? But I can't wait, you know, till Bruno Fernandes plays, and I think he's, like I mentioned, he's going to do really, really well for the football club. But like I mentioned, with the signing of Bruno Fernandes, you know, that doesn't obviously, you know, change, you know, the culture of the club and that, you know, because obviously there's a lot of problems with the backroom staff. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of problems with Ed Woodward and, you know, the Glazers. Obviously, you know, a lot of United fans are protesting, you know, the Glazers and Ed Woodward, because obviously our fans want them out, basically, and that, because we don't like the way the football club's been run for several years and that. So I think we need to get Ed Woodward and the Glazers out, and I think we need to see a variety of changes at the football club, definitely. I've also said, you know, we need to get rid of our current board. Obviously, is the walkout happening on Saturday against Wolves? Because obviously, you know, it says, you know, some of our fans are expected to walk out in the 58th minute, or a lot of our fans, you know, due to what's been going on with the club. Also, I think some of it's partly to do with the Munich air disaster back in 1958, you know, the remembrance of that. So whether this happens or not, I do not currently know. I do not know, guys, to be quite honest with you. But, you know, Man United have had a lot of injuries this season. But, of course, that hasn't been excusable for how inconsistent we've been in that. You know, obviously, you know, Pogba and McTominay out there are two imperative players. I think Pogba could be back for the game against Chelsea, like I said yesterday night. McTominay, I can't estimate an exact date for McTominay, but I think it's sometime in February. You know, Tuanzebe, he's now close to returning. I think he should be back for Chelsea, Tuanzebe. Obviously Rashford's out for a couple of months, so there's only a few players there that are now currently injured anyway. So I think now with the sign of Bruno Fernandes, it keeps our top four ambitions alive. Definitely, I think we can get it, and our squad's good enough to get that top four without a shadow of a doubt. In this game against Wolves, like, you know, you saw my starting 11 prediction for the game yesterday. I think we should stick with three at the back. You know, I think we should persist with three at the back now. Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation on a regular basis this season, as you all know. And it hasn't really seemed to suit our standards, that 4-2-3-1 formation. But in the last two games, he's gone with three at the back. And obviously, we've won his last two games. We beat City 1-0 at the Etihad in the Carabao Cup semi-final, second leg. Obviously, it wasn't enough, though, because we didn't go through over the two legs. We lost 3-2 on aggregate. We beat Tranmere 6-0. We went with three at the back and that. So maybe, actually, you know, could revert back to the 4-2-3-1. Obviously, you know, that suits Bruno Fernandes more, does the 4-2-3-1. So we could actually go with the 4-2-3-1 formation, basically. I think we look more expansive with three at the back, in my own perception, but some people believe it's too many, you know, at the back when we, you know, we're going with three at the back and that. But, you know, I think maybe for Fernandes, you know, the 4-2-3-1 formation would suit his standards more. So this is what Manchester United, you know, may take into consideration, to be fair. So we will see what happens anyway. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what formation he does go with and now. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.